Good morning. It's Brother Ken Beaver with Cathedral Baptist Church. Thank you for sharing your time with us as we look at today's word of encouragement. I often enjoy listening to great stories of endurance. I love hearing the wonderful athletes as they go to the Olympics and how they have endeavored great hardship to overcome obstacles. They have worked and finally tuned their bodies to be able to be at their maximum possible potential. We also experience a spiritual struggle, a spiritual race. And Paul, as he is getting ready to pass from this life and going to heaven, he expresses the most critical things to Timothy that he wants him to know. He shares with him in chapter 3 of 2 Timothy, verse 10. He says, "Now you followed my teaching, my conduct, my purpose. You followed my faith, my patience, my love, my perseverance, and you followed my persecutions and sufferings, just as it happened to me at Antioch, at Iconium, and at Lystra. What persecutions I endured, and out of them all, the Lord rescued me." He goes on to tell Timothy, endure hardship, continue the work of the ministry, because that's really what God had called him to do. It's also something that we are encouraged to do, is have that endurance, the ability to stick in the race until it's over, staying with it, recognizing that that continues to develop all kinds of strengths in our conduct and how we interact with God, how we interact with ourselves. Man, it changes things. I love when he expressed the example there, because if you look in the book of Acts, you get around chapter 14, 13 and chapter 14 and see what he's referencing when he talks about these cities where he endured great persecution. At Lystra specifically, they stoned him thinking that he was dead and left him. He gets up and goes back in the city. The next day he goes to Derbe, and then he comes back to Lystra and he shares with the disciples there how endurance and hardships are critical on this journey and path. He says in verse 22 of 14, "Through many tribulations we must enter the kingdom of God." My hope and prayer is that you will change the way you look at your tribulations, not as really something to be ignored or even veered away from, but accepted, recognizing that they're building something far greater and lasting in your life than you can possibly imagine. We love you and we're praying for you. God bless.